The most basic issue that I see is that we tend to teach in the way that we were taught or the way that we prefer to learn.
If your online course is not selling, we're going to say something that might challenge you a little. It's probably not your marketing, it's not the algorithm, and it's not that you need another launch plan. There is one course design mistake small business owners make all the time, and it quietly kills conversions before your marketing even gets a chance to work. Today, we're going to be breaking down what that mistake is and what to do instead.
Today, we're going to be chatting with Kasia Derbiszewska. She's an online course and business strategist who helps high-level experts turn their knowledge into transformative and profitable online programs. Now, Kasia specializes in neuroscience. I'm so excited about that. Neuroscience and learning design using brain-based principles as the foundation of her signature system inside Supercharge Your Online Course. She helps small businesses design strategic, neuroscience-backed online courses that convert. And today we're going to be talking about the number one course design mistake that small business owners make. Okay.
I'm very curious.
Oh
very curious. And hey, Anna, good job. I think Kasia's going to be happy. You did it. You slayed. You did the name. I'm sure she'll be proud. We'll have to see what she says when she comes on. So Kasia knows sometimes that her people stump on her name. So she's so wonderfully always puts like, hey, this is how you pronounce it, right? So there's no, anyway, we were practicing with Kasia behind the scenes, and Anna did really, high five, Anna. Sorry, just wanted to give you some props before we get the show started today.
I thank you, Selena. I appreciate it. But let me tell you what I'm excited about for today's conversation. We don't know the answer to the question we're asking yet.
I know.
Normally we would never go into something not having any idea what our guest is going to say. And today we don't have any idea what our guest is going to say. It's going to be like a whole reveal for all of us together.
And I'm okay. I think we have to all realize we are not an expert. We are not an expert in all things, right? And this is why you have to network and meet other people and meet other experts. And so now we're going to know something. Now we're going to learn something new today.
I know. And we're all going to learn it together. So I just want our listening audience to join hands with us today. And let's welcome Kasia to the stage so we can get the answers to the questions.
Do it. Yes.
Hi, dinners. You nailed my first name. Well done. Super well done. I appreciate it.
Yeah. It was so great to be here. We're excited. If you don't mind, we'd love to take a selfie with you before we ask you all the things. Our imaginary camera guy, camera girl, camera person, whatever, is going to just imaginarily take our picture on 3. So 1, 2, 3. Okay.
I literally try and do a silly pose every time just because I want to see what these are going to look like. I love it.
Anna, let's dive in. Yeah. Let's dive in. Let's ask the big question.
Okay. So Kasia, I was like, do not put me in the hot seat. Kasia's got to go in the hot seat.
Yeah.
All right. The question we have for you today. So if a small business owner's online course is not selling, what is the first design issue you look at before ever even touching the marketing? You've actually nailed it in your question, and it's exactly the design piece. So what we know is that actually the content is not as important as the design. You could be the most well-versed, skilled expert in your field, but when we do not, and have the best product, but when you don't design it in the way in which people learn, marketing can't help with that, right? It's the user experience that matters. And what's fascinating is we can actually predict how people vary. So people are variable, but barriers are in the design. And so when you're noticing that there's friction or your clients are completing their courses, or maybe they complete it, but they're not implementing it, it's rarely a result of a human issue because we're variable, but always
a design issue. So that's what we really look at, are these two pieces of how do we predict variability and how do we anticipate the barriers before we even market the product. So that's just a brief overview of what we're
Okay,
looking at.
we have to jump right into those two things, right? Pretend that I know nothing about marketing or not even marketing. Pretend I know nothing about online courses, right? So you talk about say the first one again, the variability, right?
Yeah. So I like to call it the predictability of variability. And there's three ways that we look at it. So if you think about it, every single human being has more neuronal connections in their brain than there are stars in the sky. Now you take that and you think about all the millions of people, the hundreds of people that you interact with on a daily basis. And now we're trying to design one learning experience for an infinite amount of variability. By default, if we design for average, some people won't learn. But there is actually a better way to do that if we understand the neuroscience. So the neuroscience teaches us not only this principle that variability is the norm, not the exception. What is normal is that there is no normal. So what we look at from a neuroscience principle perspective is on three levels: what we call the affective, the recognition, and strategic networks. In simple terms, it's the emotional brain. How do we engage with the content, with other people, with our environments? We can predict that people will vary on an emotional level. We can predict that people will vary how they perceive information, how they process it, how they interact with the content. That's the recognition network. And then how they act on it. So how do they strategize, plan, set goals, take action? Across engagement, perception, and expression, we can predict that people will vary across every single dimension. And that is the key for us to understanding how to design high impact learning opportunities.
Okay, so do you have to do some sort of, it almost sounds like these are like market research style type of data points that you really have to know in order to design a course effectively. So is it really keying in on your particular audience and really digging into what those variables are for them specifically?
Yeah, amazing question. So here's the thing. What we want to do is we want to design flexible and adaptive learning environments without additional time required on you. So if you were to, yeah, and I'm not saying you shouldn't get to know your clients or your niche market or your avatar deeply. You absolutely need to do that for your business. But the dimensions of variability are predictable. So while understanding your audience deeply is important, the powerful thing about the neuroscience is that we can look across these three dimensions and look and deeply understand these principles, and we design for it proactively. I don't actually have to meet you and deeply understand your learning needs, your preferences, or how you engage with content, because I know those indicators up front, and that's how I design for it. So to give you an analogy, I want you to think about picking up a car from a car rental place. And we all recognize that we have different body sizes, shapes, right? And if we were to design one car for the average 5'7" person, it would literally lock some people out and it would limit some people. The reason that we can design one car and not hundreds of cars for different body types, but one car for all people, is because there is an adjustable seat. There is a lever. And as the driver, I can move my seat up. I can move it back. I can adjust the temperature. I can adjust the music. There are levers that I can use. And if I don't need them, I don't use them. But nobody is, inventorying me and my needs and my height and my arm length to build a custom built car. So we do the exact same thing in learning environments, but instead of designing for what we can see, physical variability, we design for what we can't see, the variability in how people learn, engage with information, perceive it, and then act on it.
I love looking at it like that because my husband is 6'5" and I am 5'7". And just using the car analogy, you're so right. And I think it gives a nice perspective and a little shift in the way you think when you are designing, because you do have to look at those like you said, the hidden variabilities, right? So that we don't miss out and so that nobody is left out.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
this
what
is
it allows
so,
you to do is
yeah,
allow you to be the driver of the car.
right.
I don't
Yeah.
always want to be driven by somebody. I want to
Right.
get in the car. I don't
Yeah.
always want to keep telling you, hey, can you adjust this in the course for me? Or I'm stuck here, right? Because there's a sense of I don't want to inconvenience you. You're the expert, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not meant for this. I'm not good enough, smart enough. It
Yeah.
brings up feelings of shame. But when we can design for it proactively, we
Yeah.
eliminate that completely and people use the supports they need and
Yeah.
don't use what they don't need.
Yeah. I would imagine too, like completion of courses would probably be higher because you have
Absolutely.
made those kind of adjustments and changes to your course.
Can you? Yes. Okay. So this is so interesting to me because I love
Yeah.
to dig into this stuff, right? I love to research this kind of thing. So I have can you, for those out there that are looking at maybe putting out their first online course and they're like, I understand what you're saying, but I don't have any clue what you're actually saying.
Mhm.
Could you give us an example of one of those variables that you see maybe more frequently happening where a course designer doesn't stop to think about this one thing and it causes their course to not be either sellable or not popular or want their money back, right?
Oh,
Can you give us
absolutely.
an
Yeah.
example of one?
Yeah, I'd be happy to walk through one or several examples. The most basic issue that I see is that we tend to teach in the way that we were taught or the way that we prefer to learn. So to give you an example, I might do an audit of a course and the entire course is all text-based. And we expect somebody to go through our course and read pages and pages of documents while we understand that the clients who we're using, who are working with us, are coming from all different reading levels. Maybe they're taking care of somebody, their aging parents, maybe they have young children, maybe they're busy cooking dinner, and they need an auditory alternative. Maybe they need a visual alternative. On the flip side, I see videos, only courses that have all videos, right? And some people need to have transcripts or closed captioning or other modalities or summary descriptions available. That part is the recognition network. How do we take information from the external world and transform it into usable knowledge? Because if you can't perceive it, then you can't act on that information, or you might stop before
Yeah.
you even start.
Thank you for that example because and you literally just shared like our origin story of how Anna and Selena have learned together, because you're right, the way we like to receive information is so different. Anna could read like 1,000 words in 2 seconds and she'll read every word. I'm a skimmer, I'm more visual, I need something to connect the dots. And so being with Anna has really taught me to say, hey, there really has to be multiple ways of giving this information out so that they have a choice. And like you're the one where you say the video in the course and there's no other option. So now this person is locked they cannot do anything other than sit at the computer and watch this video course. And there's no alternative way to make them mobile. Like you said, if you're a mom, if you have to do a pickup, and you can't listen to their course in the car because it's anyway free. Yes, you can. Anyway, I loved that because I think that really does connect to Anna and I. I mean,
Yeah. For anyone that's not watching this but listening it, you did not see the finger pointing and the knowing stares we gave at each other as Kasia was describing this
Yeah.
scenario, because I hate video. I
Yeah.
don't like to watch it. I don't want to. I will not sit there for 20 minutes, and it is hard for me to learn that way. I want to be able to read it. I want to be able to take it in different formats. So I do love that example was such a good example of the type of thing that maybe a online course person is saying, hey, this is great. I loved the last video course I took. Everyone's going to love this. And it bombs in the end. Oh,
Right.
that's so okay. So you said there was two parts to your answer.
Yeah.
The first one, part A, is the predictability of the variability.
Yes.
Okay, what was part B? Because I can't even think back to 10 minutes ago. I need you to tell me again.
Yes. So the predictability of variability is the neuroscience. We can predict how people vary along these 3 brain networks. The other piece is that the barriers live in the design, not in the person. So when people are consistently struggling, or when people consistently, if you look at the back end of your course and you're noticing, why are people not working through module 5, right? Rarely is this a motivation issue. It is so much easier for us to say, they just fizzled out. They're not motivated. They're not into it, right? Rarely is this motivational. This is friction in the design. The barriers are in the design. Now, if multiple people are getting stuck in the same place, we have a structural problem. And if we start thinking about an architect, we're thinking about how do we make our learning environment, our place, our space, our tool available to the greatest amount of people without thinking, regardless of their age, their ability, or their circumstance. We want that user experience to feel absolutely seamless because we're always addressing the only thing we have control over are the barriers in the design. We don't go home with people, we don't change them, right? But we do have control over the design and the barriers.
Okay. That makes so much sense. It's like the flow in from the P to the V, which is how I'm going to shorten the very long way to say predictability to the variability. The P to the V flows into your design. When you recognize a place where people are blocked, you have to look at what is it about my design that's keeping them from continuing the learning process.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
You made such a good, I just wanted to make sure, because I am a data geek, and I love that, Kasia, you're saying like, hey, don't just build it too, right? Analyze what you've built. So you can say, wait, if you didn't know, you can see the completion of all your students going through a course. And your questions should be, like Kasia said, why didn't they complete them? Or why did only 20% complete them? And I was trained in corporate training. You're supposed to look at yourself and was there something that you missed? And this is that barrier by design is exactly what you're talking about is, okay, let me look at it, because look, guys, if you think this doesn't matter, it does, because if people initially bought your course and then they didn't complete it, what's the likelihood of them buying another course from you?
Yeah.
So this is the exact thing that I work on with business owners is when they develop a product or course or some sort of service, and it is not designed in the way that people actually learn, right? It's all about the content, but not about designing the experience. What happens then is they don't finish, or they may finish, but they don't implement. They don't get the transformation. You don't get the testimonial. If we reverse engineer this process, it is designed in a way that people learn. They not just finish, they implement, they get the transformation, you get the testimonial. Now we're building raving fans. We get more referrals. We increase our profit levels. So there is a very big connection behind designing transformative learning experiences and the connection to your profit model as well.
And when you're relying on online, and when you have an online course and you're not there in person, there is that added pressure of you have to be able to connect with this person on a level where they are. In person is just easier, right? You're there, your personalities, you can talk with them, you can troubleshoot in the moment what the problem might be. But with an online course, you don't have that same availability of that in-person connection. And so I can see how this right here really truly makes or breaks your ability to sell the course and make, like you just said, make a profit off of it ultimately in the long run. It's like one of those things where you're like, of course you have to design it the way people are going to learn, but it's not that simple.
Because you have to know how people are learning.
Exactly.
And sometimes that changes. And I am a course junkie, and I do actually buy a lot of online courses also because I want to I do a lot of reverse engineering. I want to know how people make things. I want to know why people make the things that they do, or why it works the way that it does. And I know just you saying it, right? I'm like, oh, I have been through where a course, I'm like, it just is not the experience about it. It just does not apply. I do want to say though, Kasia, like, even though we are talking about online courses, what you say really does apply to the experience of an event or an experience with a client or that you're trying to give. This totally applies across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, my work actually began with in-person events. So my book, Supercharge Your Professional Learning, is all about using this neuroscience framework for in-person events, high impact in-person events. And then when COVID hit, service-based providers came to us and they said, help me take it online, help me, because it did feel more intuitive in an in-person setting. And yet, even in-person settings, there is a strategy when you understand these principles. And this is not like, they're very concrete principles that we teach you, we guide you, we show you the connection. And that's during COVID, we took it online because we realized there was this massive need for people who if you work with people, deeply understanding how people learn and that there is variability. And when somebody's not learning, that it really is not about asking them, why aren't they working harder versus what is the problem with the design is truly a game changer in your work.
I really love this conversation. I'm thinking right now, even to some things that I have out for my own business, right? And thinking there are definitely improvements that I could make. So, okay, so let's just go to the very next obvious question, and then we'll go to keep ditch trying, I promise. But I know I could question. Where do we go? And this can be your own research, of course, but where are we going to find out how people are learning and what those different variabilities are that we need to be thinking about?
Yes. So what we've actually done, so I specialize in a framework called Universal Design for Learning, which is a framework, a neuroscience-based framework that summarizes the best research in neuroscience and where we can typically find barriers in design. What I've done with this framework is I've applied it to in-person and online course settings in our signature program, Supercharge Your Online Course. So traditionally, this model is used for school systems and school districts. What we've done is we've taken it and developed a system exactly for online course creators and people who facilitate events in my book.
Okay. All right. So we will make sure, of course, like anybody that's watched our show, we always do show notes after every single episode. We'll make sure links to Kasia's course are in the show notes so that if you are interested in diving into this and want to know the P to the V and then also the barriers to design, you can dig into that with her information that she has available.
I'm just kidding. I know we're doing keep titch, but you just keep making me think. And we do a lot of my client work. We sit there and we talk about, but just you made me think of something that I did with a client where their demographic was mostly older, but they went with something of the learning thing that was more digital and more for a younger crowd. And when we talk about it's almost like my stepdad loves to read a newspaper, but you give him my mom's iPad, he's and you know what I mean? If that's the only way he could read about this event or this thing happening daily, he would not read the newspaper anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing, when we normalize variability, we really reduce shame and resistance. And when we talk about one of the brain networks, the emotional network, emotion and cognition are so deeply interconnected that if we only think that we're responsible for designing the content or the cognitive piece, and we've omitted the entire emotional landscape and what happens for a learner emotionally, we have not done our job in designing an experience that learners need. So there is this entire emotional piece, like you were mentioning, for him. If he gets the iPad, there's a shutdown, and we have to honor that variability because something magical happens when he gets it in print. There's something emotional that's happening, not just cognitive.
And
Right.
when we talk about return customers and really building your business and profitability, which ultimately is why people are building courses, right? We're not doing it just for fun, or
No.
for the most part, it might also be fun. Anyway, I won't dwell on that part of it.
What are you talking about? It's always fun. Come on.
It's fine. But when we're doing this, that emotional piece plays a big
Yeah.
part in return customers, in those testimonials you're talking about, in recommending your course as the best way forward to learn whatever it is that your course is about. And that's huge when there are now, especially because we have such a vast community of online options. That's a huge piece for your business becoming more profitable by them going to some other course creator that's offering a similar topic for the similar
I
thing.
will tell you the biggest shift in the online course industry. There is this myth that courses are not selling. That is the biggest myth I've ever heard of. The missing piece is the emotional piece. People want experiences, and those are selling, and you can integrate those into online courses in a very powerful way. But people are looking for the emotional experience, and that's something that we can draw from the science to design for.
Yeah. No, I love that. Thank you.
This makes me want to design a course.
I know.
Tomorrow.
You just need it. Yeah. You know what I do love about this is that you really bring in the question of like, how, right? How will they experience? And really not just saying how they'll experience it is my content will be written in this format. Boom. Right? You really are saying, hey, let's really dive into the how so we can make sure we're not, it's a full spectrum of hows, right? Just so we can say, I love this. And I think, like I said, I do, like I said, this just really connects a lot of dots. And I'm so glad that you are here talking about this. And okay, look, we could ask more sub questions, but then we'll not start the keep, ditch, try. And
I know
Anna wants to wait. Anna's going to ask one more thing.
I have to say one more thing because I have to tell you, between the two of us, I'm the practical one and Selena's the bougie one. And sometimes I tend to go straight practical. This is good enough. People will get what they need from it. And I love what you just said because it reminds me of the importance of adding the bougie to whatever I'm doing. That idea of people want to be cared for in this course. They want to feel heard and understood. They want to feel like we're having a chat at the coffee bar and this is not me delivering a lecture to them. So I do appreciate that because I think sometimes we get stuck in that mode of get it done, get it out the door. This is good enough. And so I just, okay, now we can go to keep, ditch, try.
Okay.
Ditch, try, bougie moment.
Yeah, ready. Wait, we're going to just play a cute little segue thing here, Kasia. So bear with us 1 second. Okay. When we talk about experience and bougie, I was like, Anna, I'm making a little video and that's going to play before we start to segue into Ditch Try. So thank you for bearing with me. It's going to be a way better video as we evolve in seasons. I just know it. Okay, Kasia, there's so many things. I don't even know what you want, but if you could talk to our listeners that are doing an online course, or let's just say an event, that could be in person, what do you tell them they need to keep? Or what do you want to say to them about keeping?
I want you to keep designing experiences. And even a course is an experience. I want you to keep design experience and not just think about delivering content. They're very different. So keep the experience and not focus so much on the delivering the information, but the presentation, how it's packaged is super important.
That is your teacher for this show.
I just wanted to throw my glasses across the thing because it was so good. Like the content creator, when he eats something so delicious, his excitement always is a result of he flings his glasses. I know that he has probably a zillion of them because it's part of his thing. I love that because that's exactly how I love to design stuff. It's like, how do we make this one more notch up, right? Yes, we call it bougie, but I like an experience maker.
I love
that.
All right. Now on the flip side, if you're talking to our audience, you're saying, hey, you're doing this, ditch it immediately. Stop. It's useless.
Okay. I need you to ditch the idea that if people are not succeeding in your course or programming, that all they need is more discipline or more motivation, because it's not that. It's the
Okay.
design.
I love that
I know
advice.
that
I love
that was a true drop the mic moment of, listen, course designer, this is
Yeah.
about you, and I'm talking
Yeah.
right to you right
Exactly.
now. Mhm.
Yeah. No. Oh,
You
that's
could have
so
pointed
good.
your finger and it couldn't have been stronger. I love that.
I love it. Okay. Tell listeners, what should they try? And I think Anna's been phrasing this question so great the last couple of interviews is, what should they try this week? What do you want to tell them?
I want you to try in your online course to just ask yourself, is there just one other way that I could present this? Just one way. And so that might be, could I turn on the closed captioning? Could I drop a summary? Could I drop some chapter markers for the video? There are so many possibilities. Small hinges swing big doors. The biggest door has the smallest hinges. The smallest thing that you can do, that one little thing in representing that information in one way, will literally be the gateway to a deeper, more transformative learning experience for your clients.
Kasia, there you go with another t-shirt. Small hinges open big doors.
We usually only do one t-shirt. You now have like 7 for
I
this
know.
show. There's the B to the V, which I'm never going to forget ever again. Design barriers. We've got the hinge, the door, the hinge one. Not really. It's just
small hinges open big doors.
Thank you. That's it.
Yes. Yeah.
Listen, Selena,
I love that.
I am not auditory like you are. I want to see it written down. So if you
no.
held up a sign, I would have remembered it.
No, I'm that girl. I'm the one that usually needs, when you're talking, I need to read it as well. Anna's the better listener of the two of us, because I feel like when you talk about learning, right? For myself, I do need sometimes to read something and look at somebody at the same time. I can't just listen because it's hard. So, okay. We could, again, Kasia, we could have you here all day long, and
we'll come back.
Yes, 100%.
Listen, we're going to design a course. We're going to go through your Supercharge stuff. We're going to design a course, and we're going to be like, we did all the things, and it is awesome.
Kasia would be so proud of us, and she can do it on it. Okay, so if there is one thing a listener can take away from today, what's the one thing you want for them to just remember from today's show?
I really want people to understand that variability is the norm, not the exception. And we can design for that variability with very simple, easy to use neuroscience-based principles.
I love that. It really does put the onus back on the course designer to say, hey, do your job and do it well. If you want to sell your course, you have to do your job and do it well.
Exactly.
Because business owners are not automatically also course designers, right?
They are not.
It has to be a learned process for us.
Yeah. Okay. The last question is, tell everybody where they should find you, how they can connect with you, so they can continue this wonderful way of life with Kasia.
Really. Yeah. So you can find me at superchargeyouronlinecourse.com. And on there, you can find a link to a free 30-minute profitable course game plan call, or hop onto our 100K online course roadmap planner that's helped our clients earn over 100K in online course sales. So I'm happy to link those for clients as well.
Yes. Okay. So for anyone that knows how our show goes, we always have show notes at the end of each episode. We link those in the description. So head to annandselena.com/blog. And when this episode goes out, those show notes are available. They will have all the links to find Kasia in all the different places. They're going to link the stuff that we've talked about today. If there's a link about learning more about something, it's going to be in there. And then you also get the rundown, and you can listen to this over and over again and be like, that's right. She said the hinges to the doors.
The hinges.
I will
small hinges
now. I don't have one, but I will.
Please. Yes. Small hinges open big doors.
Thank you.
That one's stuck. Kasia, thank you so much for saying yes to coming on and sharing your wonderful expertise and what you do and how you teach people Really, just bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. And thank you for saying yes to part 2. You all heard that, guys. She said part 2. So she's coming back. She's coming back. And I'll let you kind of segue us out, and I'll keep my mouth.
Yeah. Kasia, we just want to say, I also want to say thank you for being a guest on our show today. It's been a fantastic conversation. I really think you dropped so much helpful information for small business owners, especially that are trying to do all the things, including being course designers, right? And so I think this was super helpful for them to remember what that looks like and give them some next steps for if they have found that their course is not selling, not wanted, not getting the kind of response that they had hoped for. So really appreciate your wisdom and expertise and your willingness to share it with our audience.
For everyone, so much. It's been great. Thank you.
Yeah.
For everyone else that's out there listening to us today, our listening audience, we want to say thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to run to annaselena.com/blog to connect with Kasia and to get all of the links to all the things. And we will see you at the next Keep This Try 15-ish minute Business Fix podcast.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.